Huh? Okay. Good, good. Hello, everyone. Everyone is glad it's the end of the day, and I can tell by the huge crowd we have here today. So my name is Warren Kruger. I run a company called Greystone Manufacturing. It's the parent company is Greystone Logistics, GLGI. We're a public company. It was a public company from 1967 on. It was many things. It started off as a marine paint manufacturing company, and it evolved over the years into a lot of things. And in the 22 years ago, I'd started investing in a concept of plastic machinery to make plastic pallets. That didn't quite work the way we wanted, but that first year I took over in 2003, we did $600,000 in sales. And so fast forward to the last 5 years, in the book, you can look it up, and we've got the last 2 years, but we've averaged about $60 to $65 million in sales the last 5 years, 12 million EBITDA, and about 5.5 million in earnings. We make money. And we've paid down a lot of debt. We were way over levered at one time, and we are delevered. And there was a press release out today. I'm proud to say that we just paid back. We had a $5 million preferred piece of paper that we redeemed over the last 60 days. And we also, last year, announced we were going to start buying back some of our shares. And we, as of the end of last month, we've bought back 620,000 of our shares. So we now have about 27,700,000 shares outstanding. And I have a big chunk of those. I own about a third of them. What do? We make 100% recycled plastic shipping pallets for a broad range of industries. And this is not a greenwash type of thing. We actually take waste plastic and we make it into an American-made product. Who buys our product? We sell to Walmart is a big customer. Simplot's a big customer. Trinchera Family Estates, the second largest private winery in America, bought 70,000 of our pallets. The problem with selling to some of these people in the pallet business, if you put it in an automated facility like Trinchera Family Estates has in Lodi, California, they last a long time. So we've had zero break in 8 years there. Makes it tough to repeat. But in the real world of the rough and tumble world of pallets, which there are 2 billion pallets in the United States today. Most of those are still wood. And there's a lot of people that have said, gosh, I'm going to get in this business. There's so much opportunity. I've seen a lot of plastic pallet companies come and go over my 22-year period because it's hard. It's a hard business. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces. We have right now 13 machines. There's a large tonnage machines that can shoot out any plastic up to 75 pounds a shot. So and we do things out of polyethylene. We started off years ago, we had one product. We now have about 30 some odd SKUs. So why so many different types of SKUs? Well, Molson Coors is a big customer of ours. They use a 40-inch by 32-inch pallet. They're the only one in the country that uses that pallet. Budweiser uses a 37 by 32. So it's very strange. We make pallets for the intermediate bulk container business, which big plastic 250-gallon. You've seen these things with pesticides in them or oil in them, and they're in a cage and so forth. Well, they have to have a valve slot below it. So we do a lot of those things. What do these pallets look like? This is what they look like. You can see down here at the bottom, it's a plastic pallet. And why would someone use this over a wooden pallet? Well, the economics are much greater. You get 100 trips out of a plastic pallet, and every third trip with a wooden pallet, you need repair or replacement. So long term, this is the logical solution. We are we take at the end of the pallet's life when it has been the fork truck, the fork tine always wins in this business. So because it hits a pallet, breaks a corner. Well, we buy the carcasses back from our customer. So we buy them back, we grind them, and we make another one. So how do we make money? How does an investor group, what in the world am I doing here? I want recognition. I want name recognition out there. I want people to say, hey, this is a real company doing real things. I think I'll invest in that company. Why? Because I want to provide a return. Owning 30% of this company, there's no one that wants it to grow and be more successful than me. Okay. So I'm very serious about my shareholders. I work hard for my shareholders. And we've been down as low as 2 cents a share. I was buying as like a madman at 2 cents a share. And today we're at $1.11 a share. So, you know, it's $12 million and EBITDA, and times 3 is 36 million. We're trading at 30. So, I mean, it's a well-priced product. I mean, for an investor. Where I'm going with this, about 2.5 years ago, I spent $10 million in CapEx so I could add extra capacity because I was at max capacity. I was hitting that outer limit. And I'm standing here today to tell you the truth. And the truth is I haven't filled that equipment. So I need to fill that 30 or $40 million worth of revenue a year. And that 12 million will turn into 20 to 22 million a year. So that's what I'm doing as I'm growing the company. There's multiple things people have told me over this last couple of days. What are you doing? Well, one, they're saying, why are you on the OTC? Why haven't you? So why are you on the OTC? Well, I picked this thing up as a shell, as I told you, in 2003, and we grew it. And people who had shares could actually sell their shares. I like that aspect of it. Doesn't cost us a lot to be on the OTC. We're going to have an audit every year anyway. So I like it. But it also doesn't give us true value here. So that's what I'm looking for as well. Should it be private? Should we start paying dividends instead of buying back shares? Should we start paying dividends to our shareholder base so that we can have, hey, these people pay a dividend? Should we, where we think we should go is move up to the next level to another exchange. We've talked about that ad infinitum. So we are going to grow this company, and we're going to probably uplist at some point in time. And so how am I going to do that? I'm working with Walmart now. We do a lot with Walmart. We're filling their import distribution centers with plastic. And why are they doing that? They're getting rid of wood. I'm telling you that if you talk to anybody, has anyone been in the warehouse business in this world out here? Anybody at all? You worked at a warehouse when you were a young kid? Anybody driven a fork truck in their lives? Well, there we go. I got somebody that's driven a fork truck. Well, let me tell you, wood is a problem. You have infestation. You have nails that pop up. You have boards that chips and so forth. I'm telling you, if you go into any distribution center or any manufacturing operation across the country and you say, the guy who runs it, what's the 5 top problems you have? And one of the top 5 will be pallets. Guarantee it. It's always a problem. Okay. So, and in this world, I assume most people in here have gone to a Costco. Okay. If you go into a Costco and you see a plastic pallet, chances are we made it. And that's because we sell to a customer that rents those plastic pallets to Niagara Water, Procter and Gamble, whoever the case might be. Okay. So it's a pallet, a rental pool. So if you see blue wooden pallets or red wooden pallets when you go in that Costco or that Sam's, those are rented pallets. So manufacturers rent these things so they don't have to purchase them. So where we're going in our next evolution of life is we're going to provide pallets as a service. So we're working with Walmart to implement some test programs now. So that goes between their import DCs and their regional DCs. And so all the goods come in from the overseas. They go into the import DC, and then they're distributed across the region to the regional DCs. And right there is a transfer of that product. They're putting plastic in the import DCs so that plastic does not leave that individual DC. So we want to get in that transfer world and do pallets as a service and get paid on an ongoing basis for providing that service to Walmart. So that's where we're going to see a lot of our growth. We're also going to see some growth in the automobile sector. We have an automobile pallet. We're going to see some growth in the can business. We have a can pallet. We're going to see some growth in some other businesses, but it's also going to include in the future cellular technology, because we now have cellular devices that we can put in our pallets and we can track them. We can tell where they are. We can tell if they've been, how fast they've been going. We can tell a lot of information about that. That's where the next evolution of our world is in the technology end. So you're providing not only a pallet, but you're providing your pallet as a service so you can help that customer. He can't find where somebody put the pallet in the wrong spot in a warehouse. We can actually tell him where it is in the warehouse. That's how crazy this thing is. So I'm not going to go too much further. I'm going to bore you to death. It's the end of the day. Benefits of plastic pallets, as you can see, kind of gone all through here. The decreased weight, reusable plastic. When they're broken, buy it back and use it again. No bug infestations, no soaking of any type of liquid on there. Can you imagine you're in a food service business and you get something that's been at Tyson Chicken? You don't want that pallet in your operation. You just don't want it. Okay, this is the real world. Who talks about pallets anyway? I bore people to death every day. So anyway, where we're headed is towards questions, but here's the deal. Went back to my revenue number. There we go. And as you can see, I've been pretty steady with the revenue over the last 5 years. I'm disappointed that I have not filled that extra $30 to $40 million in capacity. I have bought some equipment. I bought an extrusion line so I can make hollow lumber now. Why I wanted to make hollow lumber is I wanted to. My molds weigh about 40,000 pounds, cost about $275,000 to $350,000. So they're expensive, they're heavy, and you don't make changes. Once you make a product the size it is, it's the size it is. With my extruded pallet, I can extrude lumber. Just like it looks like a wooden pallet, but it's welded together. So Toyota is a big customer that's going to start buying from me there. I anticipate $5 to $10 million in revenue from that product line over the next 12 to 18 months on an annualized basis. And so anyway, that's where I see the growth coming and in some of our new products. But as you can see, the revenue's been pretty consistent. Our EBITDA has been pretty consistent. Our year end is May 31. So I anticipate this year is going to be about the same as the last 5 years. But next year, I believe our revenue is going to be up substantially because of what I have in the pipeline. So I'm looking forward to that. Let's see. This is the extruded pallet I talked about that looks like a wooden pallet. So you can kind of see, looks like a wooden pallet, except it's hollow and it can be made to any size that the customer wants. Okay? Pretty simple. There's some of our customers. We got a good customer base. I mean, they're all names you would recognize. IGPS you wouldn't really recognize, but you'll see that when you go into a Costco. You'll see on that plastic pallet, it'll have that IGPS logo on there. Simplot, big potato manufacturer. I mentioned Trincaro Family Estates, Omaha Steaks, and so forth. Anyway, a really solid customer base. We see big things with Walmart. We see big things because we've already done a lot with them. It's been a good pace. I called on them 20 years ago. It took me 15 years before I got any business with them. That's how, this is a tough business. This is not meant for the weak of heart. So I don't know what I need to disclose there, but I'm disclosing it to you now. And I'm going to open it up to questions so anybody can ask a question. And if no one wants a question, then we'll go have a glass of champagne. But my life is pallets. So I'll talk pallets till the cows come home. So yes, sir. That's a good point. People are funny about opening up their wallet. Okay, even in Walmart, you go out to some of these distribution centers, they want to replace it. They only have so much in their budget. And they're like, well, I can. And so everyone makes decisions, purchasing decisions based on how much money is available. That's why we're going to more, you'll see more of us in the future, pallet as a service, because if they want to pay me on a monthly basis, I'm okay if they don't want to pay me up front. But that's it. Instead of a $55 one-time charge, people say, well, I only have to pay $8 for that white wood pallet. Well, yeah, but what's the real cost? And it's just like Walmart now. Across the country, all their import DCs, all their regional DCs, in the next 10 years, there won't be a wooden pallet in any of them. And I'll be there filling them. I'll be in there filling those up. That's great. But I also want in between those DCs, and even at the DC level to the store level, why should Walmart use a wooden rented pallet if they can use a plastic pallet they already know is better? They really do. It's just a mindset. It really is what it is. It's like the old boy, he gets a bottle of Jack Daniels every year from the guy that he's been buying wooden lumber from every year. He just does the same thing over and over and over because he'll never lose his job for doing the same thing over and over. But if he makes a change and makes a bad one, he can lose his job. That's what happens a lot in the real world. I don't know if that helps or not. Anyway, I have been disappointed in the last couple of years that I have not. Last year was a recessionary year, in my opinion. People they wouldn't even set meetings. So last year was a strange year. 24, the calendar year 24, I thought was strange. So full disclosure, I've run this company for 22 years. It's an injection molded company. I also am in the thermoforming business and is separate with a partner. So, and we do thermoform. We do bed liners for Ford and General Motors, and we do the Ram box in Mexico. We make the Ram box for the little side storage for the Ram pickup truck. We make battery protection for General Motors for their EVs. And we do some metal fabrication there too. So I know a lot about the plastics world and about plastic pallets and so forth. So I know it's not one of these things that sends you to the moon with excitement, but it is a good, steady Eddie business, and it's a business that we're going to grow. Yes, sir.
How many other companies are there in the next country doing that?
Well, there's two big ones, a company called Orbis and a company called Rarig Pacific. And they're big. They do other things and other plastic as well. They do bins and crates and so forth. Greystone really focuses on pallets. That's kind of our world. We've done a few other things. We've done some dough trays for Papa John's, and we've done just oddball things like that. But we focus on injecting pallets. Yes, sir.
Is there anything special about using recycled material, or are the other guys?
No, they're not doing that. No one else is doing it. Like we are very, very well known in the industry, in the pallet industry. We're quite well known, and we are the only ones who really use 100% recycled material. We have some customers that they want virgin material added because they think that it helps. Yeah. But I will tell you, the fork tine always wins. I don't care if it has 30% virgin in there or not. So recycled material is a good material. It works very, very well. And we know what blend. We know there's different types of polyethylenes. There's a highly viscous poly that just melts very easily. And there's very thick, like a 55-gallon barrel you see that has strawberries in there or whatever in the world they are. That material is very rough. You drop that barrel, it does not break. It does not crack. And we use a lot of fractional material. That's high molecular weight material. We use a lot of that. The more viscous material we use on one-way pallets, like one and done, $13, 17 pounds, adios. We do 25, 30,000 of those a month. It's a great product, high volume, low margin product, but it eats up fixed costs. I mean, it gives, generates cash. It helps cover fixed costs.
Getting pallets, you're getting competition with
I'm not, that's a very good question. I'm not competing against my customer. Okay. What I'm doing is I'm actually providing something that people are asking for. Niagara Water's another one who's come to me and said, hey, listen, we're renting from IGPS. Why can't we have our own little pool that we manage and we pick up and do that? Will you do that for us? And I've talked to IGPS because they're very important to us. They've got 40% of our revenue, and that's a good. I'm really glad you brought it up now because that leads to the next question. So, no, we have a great relationship with IGPS, and we're not competing against them. We're not in the transportation world. We're going to deliver the pallets. We're going to pick them up when they're broken, but the customer's actually going to move them between the import DCs. So we're not in that world. We're going to give them data so they'll know where it is. We'll give them cellular data. And once a day, we'll tell them where it is. So in the morning, we'll say, hey, this one ended up in Minneapolis and it should be in Denver. That's what we're going to do. But I'm glad you asked the question about IGPS. There was another point that I was going to make for you, and it slipped my mind. Gosh, this is what 69 years old does to you, if you forget a few things. But I had another point that was that I wanted to make to you. Well, missed that one. So I won't give you that point because I can't remember what it was. Yeah, exactly. So anybody else have a question about our industry, how large the industry is, at all? Probably less than 10%. But I mean, if you go out, Pepsi is on plastic, Coke's on plastic, Budweiser's on plastic, Miller Beer's on plastic. We've done Miller Beer for 22 years. So Miller, if you see we do keg pallets. It's fun. We're doing a keg pallet right now for Yingling. We're making a mold for Yingling for their keg pallets. So it's different. It's odd. Who does this stuff? But then the mold's going to be $350,000, and you don't have a bunch of people who are going to run in and jump in front of you on that. It's I'll shoot the three. I'll shoot the three because I've been in this business a long time and I've missed a few times, but because you really need to ensure that you're pretty close to what you can make some changes, but you can't change much once that tool comes in. Anyway, we do a lot of that. We do the keg pallet for Miller Brewing, when the lay down keg, and you'll see that it's just, it's odd. Everything moves on a pallet. All this stuff was delivered on pallets. It's just a weird world and a big world.
I feel like food and bad guys want plastic, but everyone else is just like, give me wood. Give me this wood stuff. Like, is that really going to change?
Yeah, it's going to change. Well, I'll tell you what's happening. You guys see it out there, but if every single day there's more automation, we're going to go automate. We're going to automate a lot corporately. We'll see more robots in my world in the next 5 years. I promise you that. Okay. So, and it is a world where you want when you have automation and you have automatic guided vehicles, there's no human on there. That thing doesn't want to get over a stop with a wooden thing and laying across its walkway or its driveway. It's wood is a problem. I mean, I don't care what people say. I've been in this business for 22 years. Wood breaks off, nails pop up, it ruins product. If you have a liquid on the bottom and you have a full stack of 2,500 pounds worth of product on there, and you put a hole in the bottom one, you know what you have to do with that pallet? You have to unload 2,500 pounds worth of liquids to get to that bottom. So who was it? It was, I'll tell you who it was. It was, let me see if I can go back to it. Who was it? It's another beverage company, and they were booze, a lot of expensive booze, and they had a whole area where they just set aside where we clean up the booze because it'd broken. There'd be a broken one on bottom, and they'd have to clean it all up and wipe it and so forth. And I mean, we sold them 60,000 pallets, and the next year we go in there. I said, "Where's that area?" Well, so we got rid of that area. We don't need that anymore because we got these plastic pallets. I mean, it's real. It's not fictitious. But in the past too, we were slow grow because a lot of debt, a lot of it just took years to kind of get our rhythm down. Then we got our rhythm down. Then we were at full capacity. And then we added. So this is the next. We've got to get up to that $100 million level. Is where we need to go. That's what we've got to do. And that's my chore. And as CEO is to fill that pipeline. And we work hard on it every day.
There's a lot of margin expansion in the last few years. I saw on EBITDA. How do you see that? I'm never at 100 million.
Well, I do see 2001 to from February 2001 to August of 2002 is a very difficult year and a half for anyone in the plastics business. There was what was called the big freeze in Houston, Texas, and it froze shut down the polyethylene and polypropylene market. I mean, who thinks about this stuff? But that's what happened, and prices doubled and tripled in some cases. Well, when you have a 40-pound part and you go from 33 cents to 73 cents, I mean, the customer doesn't want to pay that. You already got a contract. So it was a difficult period in terms, even with the recycled, because people then were saying, well, forget that. Let's buy recycled. So they were mowing our grass, and the guys that were buying virgin previously were coming in the recycled market, which put prices up for everyone. So it's, exogenous events occur, and they just do in business. Who planned for 2020, and then who planned for the freeze in Texas? And I mean, it's going to be something else. And then last year's the election, this year's going to be the tariffs. I mean, what's going to be next year? I don't know. It's always just business. So you just have to adapt and go forward. But the margin expansion, we got our resin controls back. I mean, we got a resin back under control, and that helped. So, okay, 1 minute left. Anybody have anything else? Yes, sir. It's great for us because now we can do, for Yingling, before I made the mold, I did a 3-dimensional part for them, and then we ran it through their system, and it worked. So yeah, it's helping us. So I just don't think right now, maybe one day it'll be, they can do it as production runs, but today it's not affecting us in that. It's actually helping us and not hurting us. Thanks everyone for listening to me. I really appreciate it so much. And, all right. Now, okay, we're going to bottle of champagne. Come on. Thank you. Thank you. Good to see you again.